Hi there, listeners. My name is Grace, and do you want to hear a secret? I have radioactive blood. I'm not sure how this all happened, but I hope at the very least I get to become a superhero through it. Anyway, all the doctors from our city and even from other cities are trying to save my life. I'm not trying to stop them because I feel really sick all the time, but I'm not really sure how they can help me. It's a weird mutation, I've been told, and no one knows what kind of abilities I might get after. You know what I'd really want? I'd want to be able to fly. Just imagine how cool it would be to be able to reach some place using your own wings or your own propeller. It would be really cool to walk through walls and be really agile. I kind of just want it all. I hope my dreams will come true. Everything began in a normal way, I guess. As peaceful as life could be if you were an orphan. My parents died, hence why I'm an orphan, and I ended up living in my relative's house. My aunt and her family lived there, and in the beginning, I was scared that they wouldn't accept me as part of their family, but I soon saw that they were happy to have me. My aunt is the best person in the world. She used to calm me down during long, hard nights, and she took care of me, trying to give me everything that I needed and things that I wanted. My uncle is also good, but he doesn't spend as much time home. He's busy working a lot. My relationship with my stepbrother are a little more complicated. He's older than me by 3 years, and sometimes he behaves just like he's an old man. Most of the time, he just ignores me, but I'm okay with that. We don't really have a lot in common anyway. So, anyway, something weird began to happen to me, and my family immediately noticed. At first, they thought I was sick with, something normal. I began to feel dizzy and nauseous all the time. Also, it was hard for me to wake up in the morning. That's why I used to walk around the house like a zombie, and I was losing consciousness frighteningly often. My aunt gave me different kinds of medication, but nothing was helping. And then we had a conversation about boys and the birds and the bees because our school nurse suspected I was pregnant. I didn't think that was possible, but I agreed to visit a gynecologist. But, honestly, I confessed I haven't even kissed anyone before. Anyway, that was the moment when my endless hospital visits began. My aunt decided that it wasn't okay for a teen girl to feel like that, and something was seriously wrong. I hate being in a hospital. All those shots, tests, checkups, cold stethoscopes, ugh. Unfortunately, I began to feel even worse because other symptoms started to show up. My hair began to fall out, and my skin was peeling off, and rashes were appearing all over my body. I don't even really know how to describe the sensations properly. I never complained about my teeth. They were fine, but their state also started to bother me. My teeth were falling out, were becoming weaker, and they hurt. My gums swelled up and were bleeding. I couldn't even eat normally. The nausea also didn't help that particular issue very much. No one was able to understand what was going on at first, and then some test results came, and there were signs of radiation. It looked as if my blood had suddenly become radioactive and started to kill me from the inside. The doctors decided to do a blood transfusion, and since that very moment, my every waking morning has been starting from lying on the hospital couch and transfusion. At least I was lucky enough to have some money left over from my parents, and my aunt didn't have to spend her resources for my medical treatment. Well, at the very least, I can start pretending about what it would be like to be a superhero. It's one of the only things that honestly keeps me sane with all these tests and needles and tubes. My best friend Jessica says that maybe somebody's out to get me and that I should call the police, but she doesn't really understand anything. Anyway, I know it's all just fantasies, but, when you live like this every day, it's not bad to have hope in something, right?
My name is Jessica, and I'm the best and the only Grace's friend. And for half the year, I've been convincing her to talk to the police. The point is that my friend is being poisoned. I don't know how and with what medication exactly, but I'm sure. Because of Grace's money, of course. Her heritage money, which she got from her parents. Unfortunately, my dear friend refuses to see obvious things. Grace was about 12 when her parents died. She has a guardian, just like any other orphan juvenile. Grace was lucky enough because she had a close relative, her mom's sister, who agreed to take Grace under her guardianship. So my dear friend escaped orphanage life. We got acquainted after she moved to our neighborhood. I can't say anything about Grace's life in her aunt's family. She looked fine and didn't complain about anything. Grace studied well, having her own laptop and smartphone. But the thing is, I'm not sure how to explain properly what has happened. I also was 12, but I didn't notice a lot of things, even being at Grace's house, though I saw that no one really cared about Grace in that family. They were not very happy to have her in there. Well, everything looked decent and nice. Grace's aunt was smiling, her uncle asked about school news, and her older brother just ignored our existence just like any other senior would do. But I felt that they were not very interested in Grace's life indeed. I tried to talk about it, but Grace was sure that life's good. Well, it was as good as it could be for an orphan child. She always tried to be positive and see only the good in the world. Then we grew up and some new things appeared in Grace's relationships with her step-parents. After her 16th birthday, she received the possibility to take small sums of money from her parents' heritage, and it was rather large. They owned chain stores, which have been working pretty successfully since their death. Managers were not going to steal from the orphan, so she got not only a healthy bank account, but also profit participation. All those things were controlled by the lawyers, trustees, and a little bit by the orphanage service that monitored kids for them not to spend everything at once. All those things were controlled by the lawyers. One can easily understand that relatives and guardians had no power over the money. According to Grace's parents' last will, her guardians were supposed to have a small sum every month for Grace's needs. Once again, I'm not a lawyer and I don't know exactly all the details. Anyway, everything began from that. As soon as Grace started to receive her money, her guardians suddenly began to show their real intentions. Once their TV broke, and they didn't have enough money to fix it, then they decided to take a vacation, and they didn't have money for that again. One thing after another. Well, you understand. There were a lot of such situations. And every time Grace's aunt was saying something like, "Please, Grace, be so kind." And Grace has never refused to help them. But once one of the lawyers showed her money circulation and forbade her to take more than $200 for girls' stuff every month. Smart adults were afraid that Grace would bankrupt in such a way soon. As soon as the stream of money was over, the love of Grace's relatives also began to fade. I saw her uncle screaming that she's a mooch and she's bothering them, although they were not going to kick her out. And then this started to happen to Grace. At first, I thought it was because of the exams and nerves. Grace looked pale, even green. She was shaking and nauseous, and the school nurse asked her guardians to do a gynecological checkup. But I knew for sure she was not pregnant. Grace hasn't even kissed a guy before. Then everything went even worse, and the endless hospital visits began. With time, Grace started to look even more ill. And when her test results were ready, I couldn't believe my own eyes. Where could an ordinary girl from the suburbs get radiation? And the amount of it was so high that it started to kill her. Suddenly, I, and also Grace's lawyers, began to understand that my friend is being poisoned. I have no proof, and Grace is talking about some nonsense about superheroes. At least she agrees to have medical treatment. I'm scared that soon it will be useless. As far as I know, her guardians are already petitioning a court to deem her mentally incompetent. Like she's completely insane. And I'm sure that as soon as they get the document, Grace won't live long, or she would live as a special kind of superhero, a deranged one. She'll end up somewhere in the cheapest asylum. It's because the guardians of the mad person are almost his or her inheritors. It means they will have unlimited access to Grace's money, and her life will be over at that moment. Now I'm trying to convince her to talk to the police until it's too late. I'm crying every night because I'm afraid not to see her again. I hope everything will be fine. Please write in the comments what do you think about the story and its characters. Like the video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to see the next videos.